All right, so Donald Trump has settled on somebody to be the head of Medicare, and let's just say it's not good. Let's describe it like that. So look at this. Trump Medicare pick Dr. Oz, he's back, says uninsured, quote, don't have a right to health in resurface clip. Now, I'll show you that clip in a second, but let's go through some specifics about Dr. Oz and why he absolutely in no universe should be in this position. He should not be the head of Medicare under any circumstances, because he's a total sellout, by the way, complete fraud. You know, he had his TV show. You could thank Oprah for getting him popularity in the first place, but all these scam supplements, he would push them, and he would get paid a tremendous amount of money to push out certain products, right? So ethically super questionable, but it actually goes deeper than that. So let's take a look here. Dr. Oz, widely recognized as television's Dr. Oz, Mehmet Oz is his actual name, and President-elect Donald Trump's nominee to head Medicare and Medicaid, has sparked controversy over resurfaced remarks from a 2013 speech where he addressed the balance between personal and governmental responsibility for the uninsured. Let me just interject to say there is no balance. The government absolutely should have to provide the American people with health care. It's not a question. It's not an if. Every other developed country has come to this conclusion. There is no personal responsibility part of it. If you get sick, you get help, and it should be funded by tax money. That's in a system that made sense, not an our psychotic for-profit system. So let me stop bearing the lead. I guess I'll play for you the clip real quick. Here's exactly what he said. Here we go.
When you go home today, what should you do? I think you ought to think about 15-minute physicals. Your local hospitals will fund these. They're incredibly inexpensive to run. You can screen thousands of people for almost nothing, and you allow a conversation to take place in more of a festival-like setting. It's not scary. And I mentioned earlier that almost everybody who comes to our 15-minute physicals has a job, but a lot don't have insurance. Give them a way of crawling back out of the abyss of darkness, of fear over not having the health they need, and give them an opportunity, because they don't have the right to health, but they have the right to access, a chance to get that health.
So look, this is right-wing brainworms. That's right-wing brainworms. That would be the equivalent, to put this in perspective for you, that'd be the equivalent of saying something like, well, you don't have a right to police. You don't have a right to police. There's a balance between personal responsibility and rights. You don't have a right to the fire department. If your house catches fire, there's no right to the fire department. See, in the context of the U.S., well, we have the police, we have the fire department. So when you say that, you sound crazy. But since we don't have universal health care and there's a massive propaganda effort to make you think it's on you, your health is just an individual thing, you can kind of get away with saying something like this. But if you're going to be the head of Medicare and Medicaid, especially Medicaid, health insurance for people at the bottom of the economic ladder. Medicare, health insurance for older folks. This is you pay in with tax money and then people get the care, right? That's it. To say, oh, there's no right to health. That is literally exactly what it is, and that's what you're going to be overseeing. Oz, described by the AP as a celebrity heart surgeon turned talk show host and lifestyle guru. That's always a red flag. Lifestyle guru. That's what original Jordan Peterson was, a lifestyle guru. How'd that work out? Had urged members of the NGA to think about those physicals, promoting them as incredibly inexpensive to run while declaring that local hospitals will fund them. By the way, 15-minute physical, are you really going to get done what you need to get done in a physical in 15 minutes? You're not actually looking out for that person's health in that scenario, right? If you actually want to check somebody, you got to run tests, man. You got to do blood tests and things of that nature. The idea, 15 minutes. Here, let me check your pulse. You're good. Get out. It's another scam. Earlier this month, top Senate Democrats, in a letter to Oz, questioned both his qualifications to become the administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, along with what they described as his previous call to privatize Medicare. This is the classic Republican trick. Put somebody at the head of a government agency who doesn't believe that agency should exist. Oldest trick in the book. Put somebody at the head of the EPA who was like an oil executive 5.5 minutes ago. It's what Bush did. Bush did that. Republicans do this all the time. They don't believe in the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, so put somebody in charge of it who's going to handcuff them and make sure they don't do consumer protection. And now a guy who wants to privatize Medicare being the head of Medicare, that's not a good sign, because what's he going to do? Probably try to destroy traditional Medicare, which is better, and prop up Medicare Advantage, which is the scam version of Medicare, where it's privatized, where, by the way, there's all these scandals now. United Health is involved in this. They're price gouging the shit out of the government. They're overbilling the government and shaking down the taxpayer because Medicare Advantage is a giant scam. Democrats, led by U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren, in the letter expressed to Oz concerns about your advocacy for the elimination of traditional Medicare and your deep financial ties to private health insurers. NBC News reported the Democrats referred to a 2020 opinion piece that Oz co-wrote calling for putting all Americans into Medicare Advantage, that's the scam one, effectively replacing traditional Medicare program, which the government directly insures Americans 65 and older in tandem with private health insurance plans. Quote, indeed, private insurers that run the Medicare Advantage program drastically overcharge for care, the senators wrote. NBC News reported saying they were citing analysis from the nonpartisan Medicare Payment Advisory Committee. The Hill added that the Democrats said they were especially concerned about Oz's potential conflicts of interest. Oz reported owning more than $550,000 in United Health stock in 2022 financial disclosures. Are you kidding me? The single worst health insurance company, which rejects like 32% of the claims, they price gouge you on the front end, they deny you care on the back end. He has $550,000 in United Health stock, and he's going to oversee Medicare and Medicaid. This is criminal. This is criminal. Their idea of health insurance and health care is to destroy health insurance and health care. Turn it over to the scam artists and the fraudsters. Run out the back door with all the money while you get worse care and you get price gouged. He has an incentive to serve United Health in this scenario. Some of the worst offenders for Medicare Advantage. The scam for-profit one. The company is currently under sprawling antitrust investigation by the Department of Justice, including for its role in aggressively upcoding, this is what we just talked about, Medicare Advantage enrollees to secure higher payments from CMS, and has been sued on multiple occasions for Medicare fraud. Under your plan, United Health's revenue from Medicare Advantage would roughly double to $274 billion annually, the Democrats wrote. In other words, what they're saying is, you have a financial incentive and a conflict of interest to help out United Health because that helps your own pocket. And you're going to oversee Medicare and you're going to try to change it into nothing but Medicare Advantage and boost the profits of United Health. In a world that made sense, people like, he'd be in prison. He'd be in prison. In 2022, when the video first resurfaced during Oz's failed campaign to become a Republican U.S. Senator for Pennsylvania, criticism was strong, talking about his you don't have a right to health thing. I also want to give you this real quick. Dr. Oz, on his show over the years, has had a lot of insanely untrue health claims. And of course, it's because there was a direct financial incentive for him to make these cases, right? So you would have these companies that sell these weird supplement products make a deal with him, and then he would push it using his credentials as a doctor as if it's some sort of a cure for a variety of different things. And it would make like the middle-aged wine moms of America go out and buy these scam products, right? And so just to give a couple examples, he pushed green coffee extract as the magic weight loss cure. Not true. There was a particular supplement that he said was the holy grail of cancer prevention. That's not true. He made a claim about how apple juice has too much arsenic in it, and that's not true either. Lavender soap for restless leg syndrome. And again, you dig a little deeper and you find out, oh, he's getting paid by all these companies. So look, this is what a man with zero integrity looks like, right? This is what I need you to understand. We talk about this all the time for this show in particular. I'm in independent media. And the reason I get to call it independent media is because of how we've set up the financial incentives of this show, right? So we get paid through you give Patreon donations every month, $5 a month, $2 a month, $10 a month, whatever it is. You guys give Patreon donations, or you give a Substack donations, or you tip with that thanks button on YouTube. That's how we make money. That and the default ads on YouTube, where there's a giant buffer in between me and any companies. I've never done any ad reads, never had a conversation with a corporation or an advertiser or a billionaire or a foreign government or anything like that. We've really protected ourselves from malincentives. And the reason I did that is because you need to know that this is real independent media. If I tell you I'm independent media, but then I'm reading an ad for some product which has a sketchy history and is maybe pushing some false claims, why should you take my word for it? I'm not independent media anymore if I have these financial entanglements that bias me, right? So especially when you're talking about news, you're talking about political commentary, you need to know that everything I'm saying is coming from a reasonable place of what I actually believe, right? And so many in this field don't do that. They have terrible financial incentives, which lead them to make dubious claims, push dubious products, and you lose trust in those people over time because they out themselves. They out themselves, right? Now, I'm just giving the example of media here, right? That's what I'm doing. For what he's doing, it's honestly probably even worse than in media. Because when you're directly involved in health, you're a doctor, and you have these sketchy, smoke-filled backroom deals where you get paid from some supplement company and you push some bullshit product. He's a snake oil salesman. He's a snake oil salesman. And on top of that, on top of being bought by these supplement companies, he's also bought by United Health. And he wants to privatize Medicare, which he's supposed to oversee and protect and strengthen. He should be nowhere near any position of power when it comes to these things. Not remotely. Not remotely. He's a hack. He's a fraud. He's a sellout. And he should be nowhere near any position of power. And of course, this is the exact kind of person Trump would pick for this position. Exact kind of person. Why? Because he doesn't believe in Medicare. He doesn't believe in Medicaid. They don't believe in government. They only believe in government insofar as they get to loot the treasury and the robber barons get to run out the back door with all the money and get more tax cuts and get more corporate welfare checks. For that, oh yeah, government all day long. For you, fuck off. Rugged, individualistic capitalism, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, deal with your own health care. This is what we're looking at, guys. And it is beyond unacceptable.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.